Hey there, YouTube and No Slack fam. If you haven't already, please comment, like, and subscribe. Be sure to hit that notification bell so you can be notified of our future uploads. And please share. We really appreciate it here. Today I want to discuss prepping to go on a 1,000-mile or 1,500-mile bun burner under the Iron Butt Association. I did it back in 2017 or 18, I believe. You have to start out with a 1,000-mile saddle sore, 1,000 in 24 hours. And then after that, you can build up. So what I ended up doing was, I did my first saddle sore 1,000, then some time went by, and then I did a bun burner 1,500 gold in conjunction with a saddle sore 1,000 in 24 hours. So I got the bun burner gold and saddle sore 1,000, my second one, in the same ride in 24 hours on a Sportster 48 2.1 gallon tank. So before you get started, you have to know your limits. You don't want to, this is a long haul. You're up for 24 hours. Especially if you're on a Sportster, you're not getting much sleep. When I did the saddle sore 1,000, I had about 3 or 4 hours of sleep, and then I was back on the road to make it in time. When I did the bun burner gold 1,500 miles, I was up straight 24 hours. And being prior Army, doing staff duty, CQ, you're up for 24 hours, so that was not uncommon to me. Being up for 24 hours wasn't really a bother. I was used to it, but and being on a motorcycle, you are physically engaged. Like, it's not just like you're sitting in a car, like you can doze off. I'm sure it does happen on motorcycles, but being on a motorcycle, you're balancing thing, you're a lot more engaged. So I find it easier to do something like that on a motorcycle than a vehicle. But know your limitations and plan around them. I was in school, so I would get off school probably around 4, got home around 5, I'd eat dinner by 5:30, 6. I was asleep, and then I'd get up at 3. Then I'd get up at 3, and then I would be up and going at the door by 4 a.m. You don't want to speed. Speeding in of itself is inherently dangerous. If I've only got 2 wheels, speeding, the faster you go, the more detrimental the damage and physical harm you can cause yourself in the event an accident happens. So speed's important. I do not recommend taking drugs or stay awake like energy drinks or coffee. I do not recommend those. They make you jittery, the caffeine does. And then when it wears off, I just feel like I'm worse off than I was without it. Sunflower seeds are like snacks, like some you can do on the road. That helps. You want to make sure that you're not coming up on a big maintenance before your large ride. You want to make sure that your riding position, your rider triangle, that your foot pegs, your handlebars, everything about your ride is good. On the 48, they're like the stock bars, you're like this, your feet are far forward. You're like a letter C. Like, here's your bars, come to the seat, and then your legs are kicked out. Like, that's not comfortable. Like, you have your legs stretched out, and then you want to be about shoulder height. If you have wanky bars that kick your wrists out like this or something stupid, I recommend doing, ride for 3 or 4 hours, way before your trip, and figure out what parts of your body are sore. Maybe you have a bad seat or uncomfortable seat. You know, you can get a Saddlemen step-up seat with a backrest that'll kick you forward a little. Now, figure out what you can do to your motorcycle to make it as comfortable as possible, because you're going to be stuck on this motorcycle for 24 to 36 hours, whatever it is now. You're going to be up on your maintenance. You want to make sure all your nuts and bolts are tightened down. You've got, you know, relatively fresh oil. You're not, you know, going over your oil change or fluid changes by 700 miles or whatever. I do not recommend adding new electrical components or accessories prior to starting your ride, especially like right before, like the night before. Like, don't do that. Make sure, like, whatever was working before, just keep it that way until after your trip. If you're in the summertime, you know, depending on where you are, like if it's 100 degrees during the day and then at night it drops to like 50, that's a heck of a temperature drop. You know, I would certainly bring extra layers, extra wind protection, gloves, electric gloves, liners or electric gloves if you've got them. Layers is really key here, especially like in the fall, the winter, you know, even the summer, you know, when it's like 120 degrees out in New Mexico or whatever, and then it drops down to like 60, like that's a drop. You want to dress in layers so you can dress appropriately and fix it so you're not freezing or too hot. And so when you pack, you know, GPS, cell phones, those die, they're electronics. Make sure you have like a road map of where you're going. When I did it, I had my phone. I also had like a printed out checklist of all the stops I was making with turn-by-turn directions. You know, extra tools, zip ties, Harley Davidson's. If you've got the stock shift linkage, I'd recommend switching out those to like Heim joint. DK Custom Products sells those for, I think, for 30 or 40 bucks for a set, and those are not going to break on you. But zip ties, tape, tools, sockets, screwdrivers, bit sockets, Torx sockets. You need a little, whatever machine, like if you're metric, Harley, or Indian, make sure you have a pretty good assortment of tools so you can get yourself back up on the road. Tire plug kit. I'd recommend Ride On, and I'll post links of products I recommend in my description here, but Ride On is a tire sealant and tire balancer, so you don't need any external wheel weights. The stuff will seal your contact patch, and so if you get a nail, you pull the nail out, the stuff will ooze out and seal the plug, and at least get you to a shop where you can get a new tire. That stuff is amazing. Get everything ready and prepped at least the night before you go on your trip. You know, get your load plan, your packing list. I was infantryman. We went by packing list. I'm no different today after I've been out for 10 years or whatever. I go by packing list. Make sure all your tie downs, straps, bungees, or whatever you're using to secure your stuff is secure. It's not going to go anywhere. Take it for, you know, a good little 20-mile test ride. You know, get into curves, you know, so try and shift the weight and see if anything shifts. If you've got like straps, I roll those up, secure them to like a length strap. So usually you have like a strap and then like a plastic buckle, and then you'll have a strap that is like just flapping in the wind. Roll that part up underneath the buckle, so you'll have the buckle here, the strap, and then you roll that part here. Tape all that so it can't move and it stays tight. Do that on all your straps. Make sure you have everything packed that you need and you think you'll want, so you're not wasting time shopping for it on the road. Boredom on these trips, I mean, you're riding a motorcycle. That's really not an issue for me. I mean, there's so much to see. I mean, even I did it from Clarksville, Tennessee to Bunker Hill, Kansas, and it's essentially one straight long interstate, 70 miles an hour, up maybe might get up to 75. People go 85 or so, about 10 over. when you get into Missouri and Kansas, it's just flat lands. But I mean, I'm in the ride. It's hard for me to get bored, but I do wear like earplugs because I've got a 2020 Fat Boy now, but when I did it, I had a Sportster, and I don't have, it's not a bagger, you don't have a stereo system, so I wore my earbuds and played music, and just kept those charged. I have snacks. Snacks are good, so you can. I don't recommend going on the ride with a half helmet. You want your face covered. You don't want it to be wind blown for 24 hours straight. You get a full face. It'll cut down on wind noise, wind blast. It'll be steps in the right direction towards reducing fatigue. Is that every time you pull over to gas up, that's like 20 minutes wasted. When I did on my Sportster, I had about 28 gas stops. And that included, what I did was, so I wasn't pulling over to a gas station every 60 miles, because you get into Kansas, there are gas stations every 60 miles. So this is a RotoPax, 2 gallons. I had a tall sissy bar, so this set up right against the sissy bar on my passenger pillion on my 48, and then I just bungee corded this to I had that inside a leather bag with my extra stuff, and I had all that zip tied to my motorcycle, to my 48. So I'd ride 60 or 70 miles, I'd pull over on the interstate, gas it up with that, go another 60 or 70 miles, pull off to a gas station, I'd fill my bike and that, and I just rotated that cycle. I found out when I was stopping at gas stations, that was about a 15 to 20 minute stop, but then if I was just stopping on the highway and messing with that, that was still 10 minutes. But, gas stops add up. Plan for weather. Don't do it, obviously right before it's supposed to rain or snow. That's not fun. Do it in the best temperature, climate, and weather season that they can find time in your schedule. Try and eat healthy. Don't eat like McDonald's or Taco Bell on your ride. You want like healthy snacks. You want good energy, not a bunch of crap in your system. If it does rain or you're right into inclement weather, it's vital, especially on this 24-hour ride, if you're gonna be successful, to put your rain gear on or whatever prior to getting wet. Once you're soaked and then you're riding, hypothermia can set in at, I believe 70 degrees is when hypothermia can set in. I'll post a link to my research of what I found out there. I'm pretty sure 70 degrees is when hypothermia can set in, and that's crazy. That's relatively warm, but still, if you're soaked and in the wind and 70 degrees, you can go into hypothermia pretty easy. If you have time, you can separate your gas stops from food stops, but I planned on stopping at Crane's Country Store in Missouri. I think they're in Festus. Really cool little shop, but I always plan my rest stops at, right there, because they've got good snacks. It's a good place to walk around, look around. It's a really interesting store. Gas stop too. It's important to stay hydrated, so I would have a 2-liter Camelback in my leather bag that was on my back, and then I had the hose on the outside, so I could just pull over, grab a swig real quick. Gas is really important. Don't run out of gas. I forget what stop it was, but I was in between gas stops, so I ran my tank out of gas before, filled it up with the RotoPax, so then I had no more gas on me, and about 100 yards before I hit the gas station, I coasted, like my engine died, and I coasted up to the gas stop. little 2.1 gallon tank fun. But I mean, it was a good memory. But dang, that was close. I mean, I was really in between gas stops. Really didn't have any choice. You don't want to take anything strong like muscle relaxers, but Tylenol, ibuprofen, Excedrin, stuff like that to relieve your aches and pains, because you are gonna get sore. Always be cautious of side roads, country roads. If you're on country roads, watch out for wildlife. If the road's not traveled a lot, I mean, or even if it is traveled, like gravel trucks or sand can, get debris on the curves. So always be leery of your curves and obstacles that you can't see. If you want to live on the road, or if you want to survive the trip router, stay away from other traffic. I try and keep a 4-second bubble all the way around me. Eliminate distractions and irritants. Like I said before, it's best to go through your machine, do a test ride, figure out what's good, what's bad, fix it, and correct those issues before you attempt this. If you are doing this on a Sportster, you've only got 5 gears and you're going to be cruising at 70, 80 miles an hour. I was losing a lot of oil, so I brought, I think, an extra quart or two to keep my oil topped off, because you're just, for what RPM that was, but I mean, you're revving that thing up, and it's just, your oil just goes down. So about 300 or 400 miles in, I'd check it, add some when I needed it, but I brought like a quart or two with me. When you plan your route, I guess it really depends on where you live. Like maybe a circular route would be better. I know if you're like in Florida or somewhere down on the coast, or anywhere on the coast, it's probably hard to find a nice straight route that's not like packed with traffic or anything. You want to avoid traffic if you can. Traffic and stops will slow you down. That's what what's really good about being in the Midwest is, you're kind of free and clear of traffic. It's not super heavy. But if you get a circular route, to make it easier for the Iron Butt Association to verify your ride, pick a circular route and then only go around it once. Maybe if you have to go around twice, maybe make it bigger. When I did mine, mine was essentially a straight shot from Clarksville, Tennessee to Bunker Hill, Kansas. So, it was easy. I held up my receipt with my gas receipt right up next to my speedometer, and I spent my odometer for my mile reading, took a picture, and then you did that every gas stop where you were able to get a receipt for it. And then you want to make sure it's got the time on it, date and time. City and location. So yeah, city and location, date and time, those are all really important to have on your receipt. Yeah, just make it as easy to track as possible, because you don't want to you don't want to do the trip and then have iron butt fellas and women to deny you because they're having a hard time, verifying your ride. And then here's some photos from the Iron Butt registry for my evidence that I've actually done it. I know what I'm talking about. So I was 33 then. I'm 36 now. And after I did that, and I started at the Harley dealer or wherever I was, people would see my bun burner gold patch, and they were like, "You did 1,500 miles in 24 hours on that?" And they were just like did a bow for me, and It's crazy to think that. I mean, you get these guys on great big sofas, you know, baggers, and they won't do it. Do not bring anyone else on the ride with you unless they are completely vested in doing it with you. Like my Saddlemen 1000, I had a good buddy. We went and did it together, and that worked out really good. I don't recommend bringing anyone with you on these rides, because I mean it's a lot. I mean it's a hard press. So it's a lot better to do it when you're younger than when you're older. Statistically speaking, the highway and the interstates, those are far superior and safer than riding in the city. Obviously there's fewer opportunities for cars to pull out in front of you, turn left in front of you at an intersection. You don't have that on the interstate. So statistically, they're a lot safer. So there are a bunch of different IBA rides. They've got Saddlemen 1000, so 1,000 miles in 24 hours. They've got bun burner 1500s, 36 hours or less. They've got bun burner 2,500 kilometers and 36 hours outside the USA. I mean, these rides are all over. You can do this anywhere. You don't have to be in the United States. They've got rides around national parks, the Great Lakes. You can ride from coast to coast and back. They've got 48 states in 10 days. They've got a lot of things on here, and a lot of people have done these, and it's just amazing. Like, you go on there and search for some people, and like they put 30 or 50,000 miles doing these rides. It's just crazy. They got the Million Mile Riders. You have to have documented 1 million miles or more. I mean, there's 20 folks on here have over 1 million miles, like actually documented. Gosh dang. 100 Day Insanity. 100 days, 100,000 miles. Just holy crap. If you want to ride, and that's the thing, like, if you like logging miles and just being on your bike, this is for you. If you want to like slow down and see stuff and enjoy life, enjoy the breeze, yeah, these rides are like, you're just logging miles is all you're doing. You're not really stopping to see anything, enjoy, the local cuisine or anything. These are not that. Much of my discussion on and advice for doing an IBA, so let me know if you've done one. That'd be really cool to, hear from somebody. So y'all have a good one, take care. I'll see you until next time.